Before we get started, Holly, I got to take this time to tell the listeners about DraftKings. Ohio DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Buckeye State. It won't be long until you can bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your own home. To celebrate, all new customers will receive $200 in free bets when you sign up today using code P3Browns. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win $100,000 free bet. Woo! That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 in free bets for just signing up today. No deposit required. Man, they treating y'all good. Soon, you'll be able to bet on money lines, spreads, props, and more with one of America's top-rated sportsbook app, DraftKings Sportsbook. Plus, you'll be entered to win $100,000 bet when you sign up. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with the code P3Browns to get $200 in free bet to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code P3Browns. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and older. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as $825 free bet. No purchase necessary for sweepstake. Void where prohibited. Ends first day DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.com/OH.
Part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
45-50, 45-40, run, William, run! He's got blockers in front, 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs turns disaster into a score! Kick block! They blocked the kick!
All right, welcome into the Orange is Orange, your podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Holly Wetzel. He is Tyvis Powell. And Tyvis, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for bye week to be over. I'm done.
You know what, Holly? Actually, although this season has been up and down, it's been brutal. I actually missed them. I missed them Sunday, man. I was bored. I didn't even really watch too many games. Obviously, because I got NFL Red Zone, so they was tuning in to the Chicago and the Dolphins game, which was very interesting. Shout out to my boy Justin Fields, go Bucks. But outside of that, I really wasn't too interested in it. And it's sad to say that.
I know it really is, especially much we complain. Well, I complain about them, but I'm speaking of Buckeyes. I'm surrounded by Buckeyes tonight. I got 2 with me tonight. We have with us to get us amped for the Dolphins, talk a little bit of Browns, maybe talk some Ohio State, maybe talk some embarrassing stories about Tyvis.
There is no.
We welcome in first-time guest on the Orange is Oranger, former Ohio State Buckeye champion and quarterback and former teammate of my co-host, Cardale Jones. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are so excited that you're hanging with us tonight.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. And Tyvis has made me a fan of you guys thus far, so it's an honor to be on the show, and it's a pretty special night.
How much did he pay you to say that right before you?
I'm waiting on my cash after It ain't clear yet, Tyvis. I'm about to take it back now.
Yeah, I got no money. I'm broke. I've been out the league for too long. I'm broke. I'm living check to check.
What was Tyvis like as a teammate? What was I want to know any dirty details that you can share.
None.
I mean, as a teammate, he was always a good teammate, always a good roommate as well. I mean, he kept he cleaned up behind himself. And that's all you can ask for as a college roommate, thinking about those dorm days. And then we moved off campus, man, walking into some of our other teammates' apartments and dorms. It's like, hey, don't touch nothing. Keep your clothes on. I don't want to touch nothing. I don't want to look at the refrigerator because it was gross, man. But he was a good teammate, man, guy that I could enjoy competing with on a day in, day out basis, because I knew that, we was going to be some crap talking. While we was going against each other, and then we always clearly wanted the best of each other. And he kind of holds that record semi-ish on me right now, dating all the way back to high school, actually.
Thank you.
I'm giving credit where credit is due.
Look, boy, you about to make me cry.
Well, technically,
Yeah, I was waiting. I wanted some good
Technically,
stuff.
that
And this
is
is I'm getting
great. No,
sappy.
He's
No,
being
no.
honest right now.
Well,
Let him go,
technically,
Holly. He's
I got
being
the
honest.
last laugh. Tyvis, technically, I got the last laugh when we preseason game.
Oh, you threw that ball out
first
the you threw that ball out the end zone. I mean,
Yeah.
you did
So-
get that one. Did y'all won that
Yeah, we won. You know we won. You know we won.
game?
Yeah, you know I had a rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown. You know we won.
Yeah,
Tyvis would know. He remembered. Yeah.
So Cardale
Mhm.
Cardale ran it in right in front of me. And I get to him and I'm like talking trash to him. He like, get out the way, turn around and throws the ball in the stands.
No, out the stadium.
I said,
Oh my
so you
God.
just go disrespect us like that. Yeah, he got the last laugh. That's cool. That's cool.
Well, if by all means, come say anything you want. That's I can use against Tyvis going forward. That'd be great.
No, he was like I said, he was always a good teammate and a good guy to room with because we were very similar in college. Never was pretty much on the out scenes as much as some of other college not athletes but college students. Period. So we pretty much did the same thing. I mean, we got home, did our 1-2 when it came to studying our film, and have had work to do, and then we played video games.
Yeah.
2K, Call of Duty, and that was pretty much it. And at the time when Tyvis started dating his wife Lauren, so we was all pretty much. People would thought like if they came over and I was third wheeling, no, we all pretty much just hanging out together.
Yeah. Listen, me and Cardale, we both experienced some highs at the same time as we experienced some lows. It was our paths in college was pretty similar. Like I remember the time, I always laugh about this because I remember the time that Holly, do you know I was one time almost academically ineligible? Did you know that?
No, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Tyvis didn't come here to play school either.
No, so like the funny story about it, Holly, is this. So I had failed business calculus, and then I had an economic class that I was taking, and I had to pass that because you fail 2 classes, you'll be ineligible. And I think I was sitting with like a C at the time. But I took my final and I'm like, I don't know how this final go. But the problem was it was hard balance. That was the first time I had to balance playing football and schoolwork. Cause like in high school, it's obviously easy. I can just show up and boom, know the answers. But in college, you actually got to study. I didn't have time to do such a thing. So make the story so funny is I come in after I take the econ test, I come in, Cardale sitting in his room. Cardale sitting in his room, and I say, Cardale, I think I'm about to be academically ineligible. And he gonna say, I am too.
Oh God.
Like, you join the boat.
So yeah, me and Cardale had it, but we both ended up passing our class, so we wasn't ineligible. But yeah, me and Cardale, man, we both experienced the same thing. So that's why it's always been my guy, man. It's my dude, it's my brother.
What so take me a little bit into like as a student and playing for Ohio State. I mean, what was that balance with academics versus playing? I mean, did you guys have tutors? Did you have what was the okay?
You get a tutor for every class.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I remember just trying to just balance it of putting the time in your craft as an athlete, and then also spending just as much time putting that craft in as a student. Especially your first year and a half, maybe 2 years, depending on how your first year went. I mean, you had mandatory tutors, right? You had mandatory things you had to do outside of your sport. So your day can go from getting up, classes all morning, early evening, practice, getting some work in after practice, heading to a tutor, and then still having film to watch and things like that on top of doing homework. You look up, and by the time you want to finally do something for yourself, it's relax, watch some TV, play a video game. It's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
And oh wait, you still gotta be up, 7:30 for or even earlier for 8 o'clock class the next day. So the balance was tricky for me personally.
I don't miss that.
No,
Yeah, I don't miss it at all.
I'm sure you don't. Yeah.
So there's just the balance of that lifestyle was extremely tricky. And, it's the reason why only, so many have an opportunity to do so, because outside of having the ability to play at a high level, you got to have the ability to multitask and to compartmentalize at a high level as well.
Probably had to grow up pretty quickly, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's
It's even worse for him because he was playing quarterback. So
Yeah.
that's a whole nother. See, DB is easy because it's only 5 cover. It's only either man, cover 2, cover 3, or cover 4. That's all it can be. With him,
what was that pressure like when you ended up having to go in? I mean, what is, take me inside your head, I guess, a little bit when that happened.
I wouldn't say. I think that staff, Coach Meyer's staff, did a great job, and Tom Herman did such a great job of always having that next man up mentality. Before I even had an opportunity to play in 2012, we went 12-0. Tyvis freshman year, Tyvis sealed one of the games with an interception up at the team up north, and we had so many times of that season where our quarterback went down, if it was injuries, if it was cramping or whatever, and our backup quarterback got in, Kenny Guyton at the time, who's now coaching receivers at Arkansas, went in and pretty much the offense didn't miss a beat. So we adopted that mentality super early. And I think before our coaches started to preach that mentality, I think Kenny was already kind of living it. He was a guy that did everything right always, a guy that always bust his butt, even though he wasn't a starting quarterback at the time. He was a guy that people knew and we looked up to for his leadership, hard work, dedication, and his sacrifice. So trying to take some of the things he did in his everyday life and his routine of preparing, that's what I started trying to do at a younger age. And clearly, it ramped up as older I get and I understood the position I was in. But after a while, our coaches is, definitely adapted that mentality as well. I remember times where Tyvis, we would go good on good. And, winner loser day, especially in spring ball, where we will have, we would practice situations if it was third down or play it or red zone, and it was 1-on-1s. And it was like, hey, winner don't have to run after practice or got to do something extra to losers. And, in those heat of those moments where Coach Meyer yell out, hey, the quarterback got a equipment issue, or the left tackle got an equipment issue, he got to come out for one play. And he forcing his backup to make sure he's paying attention on the sideline and also being at competitive excellence. So when his number is called, he's ready. So he would do that with offense in particular. And Coach Meyer being an offensive-minded guy, I don't think too much of that was going on defense, Tyvis, if I'm not mistaken.
No, but when they called Joey Bosa out, it was a problem.
For sure. But he forced everyone to not just be at their excellence, but to make sure they're paying attention when they're not in, because they never know when their time, will they be called on. And not just me, but a lot of guys were put in that situation. I could remember, playing against Alabama, and our center, Jacoby Bourne, got rolled up on. He had to come out for a play. And, we put our backup guard in and moved Pat Elflein to center. And literally we ran the ball right behind the backup guard, Chase Ferris. That's next play. So if he wasn't ready for that situation on third and goal, we probably had to settle for 3. So, and that leads back to the competitive excellence that, that we held not just ourselves to as an individual, but we held our other teammates to, because that's a lifestyle we was living at that time.
Which brings us to the Cleveland Browns, because they have that going on.
They sure do.
Speaking of competitive excellence, when you think of you play quarterback in this league, what is like the preparation? Is it any different in college than the NFL? Because you think of a guy like a Jacoby Brissett who comes in for the Browns, and obviously when he first signed here, he didn't know what the deal was going to be, but he ends up signing, sees the D. Watt suspension, knows that he's the guy. Like, what goes into that? Because I know you in the preseason for actually your year with the Chargers, you kind of started some of those preseason games.
Yeah,
so like the preparation, like.
I think your preparation as a starter or as a quarterback, period, as a player, you prepare like you're going to be the starter, right? Because in this game of football that we play, you're only one snap away. I tell guys all the time, you are closer to the end of your career than the beginning, and that can happen for an opportunity. Right, for a guy that's not, the guy or the starter or a rotational guy. But I think with Jacoby, he's in a unique situation where he always been a backup of a guy that if you had to put in for, a game or two or a series or two, that he can get it done. But now being thrust into a position where he's the starter, they're preparing for you each and every week. I know he had somewhat of a year as a starter with the Colts when Luck retired. But that season, I guarantee everybody was preparing for Andrew Luck to be the quarterback. But knowing that they're preparing for you, knowing that some of the things that you do really well, they're going to focus on taking away. And Jacoby traditionally has been a great leader, a guy that's protecting the football, a guy that's not going to force too many shots and things like that. I know he had a couple of bonehead things last week when they played Cincy, but who doesn't, right? But it's just different when they prepare and they know you the guy. I know that's something that, I somewhat struggled with. I remember in 2015 after, we went on a 3-game stretch, and then, as teams started to have more film on me, they started to take away things I was really good at, and it forces you to self-evaluate and think about other things that you may be lacking in your game, or finding other things that you need to do to help this team, overcome some issues.
Yeah, you mentioned the Bengals game. Do you feel, I asked Tyvis this question last week, do you feel that last week's win, with how well the team came together on both sides of the ball and everything, do you think it's more of an anomaly, or do you feel like it's more of the start of something? Like, even if it is, what was it do you think clicked?
I personally think it was a little of both. One thing about Cincinnati, they are a completely different team without number one Chase, but also I think the Browns started to put themselves in a position where, let's get back to our bread and butter. Stefanski, I can't pronounce his name. I think it's Stefanski. What I really admired about him when he was with the Vikings is how well he ran the ball and his schemes with Dalvin Cook. And I forgot the other running backs. They had Latavius Murray, I believe it was, and a few other guys. And I think the Browns are saying, you know what, screw that. I know we just paid Amari Cooper all this money. I know we have these great tight ends. I know we have these up and coming young receivers as well. But let's work our workhorses, right? And once the Browns get their run game going, clearly you can say it's about anybody, but they just make their passing game that much more better, especially play action pass, because you're going to be forced to account for a guy like Chubbs. You're going to be forced to account for a guy like Hunt, right? So I think it was like, hey, let's just stick to our bread and butter and see what happens from there. On top of our defense was playing good. They didn't give up many plays downfield, even though since he was missing a big time deep ball threat and Chase. But, they kept everything in front of them. They got pressure on Joe Burrow. And you didn't see a lot of missed tackles, which one thing I noticed from their defense early on throughout the season, a lot of missed tackles and maybe some miscommunication and blown coverages. I don't saw much of that. I don't think you saw much of that Monday.
Not at all.
No.
Let me get this. I need to get this on record for our listeners.
Uh-oh.
Can you take our listeners through just what goes through your mind on any pass play? So it's the play is called, it's a pass play. You break the huddle. Take them through what you got to go through, because I don't think listeners understand how difficult playing quarterback is.
First and foremost, I thought break the huddle. It may be a double call, it may be a single call, it may be a triple call. So you can potentially have 3 different calls in one play, and whatever the defense is lined up in, or a certain coverage or a certain front, depending on if it's a run kill to another run, I'm going to make a call if it's a check, if it's an Oscar, if it's a complete auto at the line of scrimmage. So first and foremost, I'm making sure I get the call and get out the huddle in a timely manner. First thing, eyes on the play clock, right? To know how much time I got to operate just in case it's a double or triple call. Then I'm finding my boundary safety. Usually he's telling me what type of structure it is when it comes to the defense. 1 high or 2 high. And then I'm looking at my field safety, and then I'm looking at techniques to distinguish what type of structure it could be. Far as if I got a guy staring at my guy, looking through his chest, I'm more 9 times out of 10, I'm thinking some type of man coverage. Because if man coverage, Tyvis, being a DB, you got that guy. If he go get some popcorn, you got him. You going with him.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Butter, right? So I'm looking at techniques, and then I'm going through my mind of what play was called, if it was a double or triple play. And I'm saying what technique or what play would be this. For example, if it was a double pass call, the first pass may be for zone and the second pass may be for man. And as a DB, you compartmentalize the game when it comes to game planning. So you might have a first and second down game plan, but your third down game plan is completely different from your first.
It's
so your third down
yes.
is usually going to be broken down into third and short, third and medium, and third and long. And
yes.
You're only going to play 2 to 3 defenses in each of those scenarios. So as I'm getting my first play call, we're probably banking on that first defense. Maybe it's a cover 3 carry team, right? And then maybe I could realize it's not cover 3 carry. This their second defense they like to get to, and it's man coverage, right? Okay, boom, I'm probably killing it, or I'm calling my man coverage beater play because my man coverage beater play is probably not good versus cover 3 carry. So I'm trying to distinguish all of that after I broke the play clock. And usually when you break in the huddle, the play clock is usually around 15 seconds. So you probably got roughly 15 seconds, not 15 seconds, you probably got roughly 5 seconds to determine all that. And then guess what? You still got to drop back, say go, and beat a guy like Myles Garrett and get the ball out before he gets to you under than 2.5 seconds. So it's not that simple. And all of that comes from hours of film study, right? Like I said, I'm, and Tyvis, this as well. And I'm glad that, we had a chance to break something down like this. But in that one scenario of third down, third and short, I'm probably watching 3 hours of film on third and short in particular of every game they played thus far.
Yeah.
Right. And then third and medium.
It's a whole clip. It's a whole cut up. Third and 2, third and short, third and medium, third and long. And it's like 100 plays in each one. You got to know them all.
Yeah, and you just want to get familiar. You want to familiarize yourself with your opponent because, that one little nugget that out of those 100 clips you watch, maybe that one clip give you that nugget you need to convert on a first down. I'm not talking about touchdown. Convert on a first down. And a guy who was big on that, and clearly I think every quarterback in the league is probably somewhat that detail. Is guy Phillip Rivers. Man, Phil, I remember watching a game where Phil, we was getting ready actually for the Browns. We came to Cleveland in 2016 and 17. And Phil went back, the Browns, I forgot the D coordinator at the time. He went back to a clip from, it was like 2001 when he coached at the Houston Texans. And we were trying to figure out what was the distinguished factor of this cover zero blitz that they would come with because they had 2 different looks for it, but we couldn't tell if it was zero or then spelling out because that determined our play call. He went all the way back to 2001 and found the distinguishing factor. And it was literally because an interior defense lineman had one of his hands down versus the other one because he was dropping out in coverage. And it was a right hand because it was like if your right hand was down, it's easier to open up with your left, and that's where he was dropping out. He was matching it back. So he came up with that theory, and then he started to think about it. Say, okay, cool. Let me find a clip where he dropped into coverage, and the back was on the other side. The exact same thing. Left hand was down, the back was on the right side of the ball. He was dropping to the right, and it wasn't true coverage zero. So little things like that come up all the time where, like I said, we spend hours on that trying to figure out what's making them drop, what's making them bring the zero. And literally he went back to clips when his coach was at a different team to find that one nugget. And guess what? We didn't even get that scenario when we played them.
That's the part.
But he was ready for it.
That's the one. That's the part that make you mad right there.
I mean, yes and no. Yes and no. I mean, but it feels so rewarding when it happens. Like, it's been times I broke the huddle and being a guy in preseason and knowing what they were playing, and I'm already changing the play. And I'm happy. I'm like, it's about to happen. It's about to happen. Oh, touchdown or first down and things like that. So it's definitely rewarding, but it's the time, effort, and energy you put into it. It's not that simple. It's just dropping back and throwing the ball to the wide open guy.
No, I feel you. I don't know if I said that on this podcast or not. I said it sometime like a week or two ago where actually it was last week where I became a starter for the 1 week in San Francisco, and I watched so much tape. 12. I'm talking about I was out there calling the plays out. It's the best feeling in the world. Anybody that's ever playing football, you need to watch film because when you get to Sunday, if you can just look and be like, I'm telling y'all, they about to run this right here, and they do it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right. It's like we gonna win by 50.
You're right. And that's a great part of playing against another guy like yourself or someone who's putting that time, effort, and energy in just as much as you because it comes with cat and mouse game. Because he knows your stuff just as well as you do, and you know his stuff just as well as he does. Man, Phillip Rivers used to line the defense up the right way. I'm talking about when playing the other teams. Like, hey, man, you over here. I know you guys come with this blitz. Get over here. Like, literally. Like, unbelievable. And I think, especially with some of the things I did in the XFL, first developed that trust with my coach that allowed me to do that stuff. It's been times where he's like, hey, you got it, which he let me call the plays. Which I would look at the situation, okay, first or second. Usually I like to do it on third down because I already knew what type of 2 or 3 defense they go to run. And I line my guys up in a formation. I see how they line up, then I call the play. And we kill it, So, but they just come from the development of, your skill and film study and things like that, which I definitely think, that's why you see the elite guys kind of separate themselves from everyone else in the National Football League.
I appreciate that, TOiO. I need to
No,
because listeners don't understand
No.
how, like, they understand what quarterback is, and like they be
Mhm.
like, oh, they quick to say, oh, this guy sucks or this guy's terrible. And I just want you to like tell them, like, you couldn't do it. Like, if you went out there and had 15 seconds to do this, you would not be
It's
able
not even that. I guarantee you you can know, your average listener, your average fan, who's, who really respect the game. They probably can't even, call a play, let alone execute it or know where everything is going. I mean, because then another thing where guys look at when quarterbacks go to different systems and things like that. And I know a big thing was, for example, a guy like Tom Brady, his first year in Tampa, in the beginning, he didn't look as great. I think they won a championship his first year, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but a guy like that, he didn't look as great. Or a guy like Russell, when they switch coordinators, he looked as great. Because you got to understand, when you go into a new offense, every coordinator, every defense coordinator, they bring in their own terminology, their own language, which is like, for a player, is learning a new language. When you go to a new team and things like that. So I don't know, simple something as like Trey Wright up 64 on 12 book in my offense, but another team offense may be, let's say, Deuce left up 73, 13 ISO, but it's the exact same play, right? So things like that. And then let's not get into double calls and kills and flips. So you learning a whole new language as well. And then it's a whole different ball game when you putting yourself in that huddle and your guys who your left and your right, your linemen, all those guys, they don't care about you just got into this offense. They don't care about, you the new guy here. They expect when you get in, especially as a backup or due to an injury, that we're not supposed to miss a beat. So I remember, oh my God, man. It was Buffalo, man. First time NFL, first time ever in time. First time I'm in the huddle since high school. And Buffalo. And even though we had our play calls on our wristbands, I mean, all that stuff is still kind of is wordy. And
I see that from the little fine print. Oh yeah.
This is why I play defense.
And man, I was calling them play, man. We were playing the Colts on our first preseason game. And who was Eric Wood was my center. And because I got in with the starters early. And I'm trying to freaking call the play. And it's the second drive of the game. They take out Tyrod. He was a starter and let me play. And I get in there. I'm just like, trees, right? He's like, spit it out, rookie. I'm like, come out. He goes, spit it out, rookie. The play clock is going. And again, I'm just like, I'm just run the ball. I don't know where to go. I'm just like, oh my God. I never in my life felt times I felt this big. I felt like my whole body fit inside my helmet. I'm just like,
That's why I play defense. They literally, the call is Brooklyn, Boston, Frisco. That's it. That is it.
I wish. And then we're not even talking about like shifts and motions and things like that and cadence and all that stuff.
The cadence matter?
Yeah, for sure. Because first and foremost, the best athletes on the field, I think the best athletes in the world to me, I think it's defensive ends. I think between defensive ends and corners.
Thank you.
Yeah. Because a corner is playing the whole game backwards versus some of the fastest people in the world. That's unbelievable. When you really take a look at that. They're playing the game backwards versus some of the fastest people in the world. But defensive end, they're big, strong, fast, and some of the things that we really ask them to do. And if you see a guy like Myles Garrett, when he can come around the corner and his shoulder is almost 2 yards off the ground or 2 inches off the ground, and he's still in full speed coming around the guy corner, that's unreal. Like, you can't teach that. So you use your cadence because you're going against probably some of the worst athletes on the field. Linemen are trying to stop the best athletes on the field. So you got to try to level the playing field. You don't want to give a good defensive, not even a good defensive, any guy, the jump on your cadence, right? Because you got to jump on your lineman. They ain't out their stands or they're, get stuck in a bad position. So you want to use your cadence. Your cadence is a weapon, especially, you got guys who get up to line of scrimmage early who got double and triple calls. They use their cadence big time because you want to get that tail from the defense to know, okay, hey, this might be this, but let me go with a dummy cadence. Oh yeah, it was this. Hey, let me kill this play, or let me change it.
That's fascinating stuff. What are you most excited about, speaking of elite and all that, with Deshaun? What are you overall thoughts and excitement?
I don't think I'm necessarily excited for one player on this team to continue to make this team go. I think they have found their formula when it comes to just their identity and who they want to be. I mean, it's always tough when you got a guy like Amari Cooper coming in who's been unbelievable in his career, deep ball threat, and the guy that you want to get, at least 12 to 14 targets to, and hopefully, those turn to, 10 to 11 catches. But, you got to understand that 12 or 14 targets to one guy is taken away from, potentially 14 to 7 carries between two great running backs you have. So just coming up with identity, I think they continue to establish their identity. And, I'm excited to see Deshaun get through this tough time that he had to go through with off the field things. And he hasn't played in almost, I think, 2 years. And I want to see if he can get back to a hint of that unbelievable player that he once was. I'm pretty sure he still is. I just don't know when that sweet spot for him would come. But then again, with him as well, he never had a unbelievable run game like this. So what type of quarterback, what type of player is going to turn him to, right? I know me personally, guys always ask me who's my favorite target. When I was playing, I always said good run game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite target because it made passing a lot easier. Because when you got Tyvis, as you know this, when you got a good run game, you're forced to have, for a lot of guys around the box, and that stuff opens downfield for you.
8-man box.
Yeah.
What do you think realistically he's going to be able to do when he comes back? Not playing for 2 years, coming in, I know a lot's going to depend on where the Browns are at that point, and expectations wise, but realistically, I mean, where do you think coming from a quarterback standpoint, would you be under just a shit ton of pressure?
You know what? I think no. I think he, in this situation the Browns is in, I mean, I guarantee you, even Browns fans has count this season out and over for these guys. I think the pressure would not be on for him mostly until next year, because then he have X amount of time in the offense in the offseason and some game reps under his belt. But I think he coming in and trying to really get his feet wet back into the NFL and the game and the speed of the game. One thing you can't simulate when it comes to NFL, I don't care how much you train, how much you do it, is game speed. And you can't simulate hitting the ground and getting back up. You can't simulate that stuff, right? I mean, this is not basketball where you can go to the rec in the gym and really get better and work on your craft. I mean, your craft continues to excel in this sport as the more you play it, not, how many ladder drills and all the stuff you've been doing to prepare for these moments. So I think it'll be some type of adjustment for him to get back to where he ultimately want to be and even past that. But, I don't think the pressure's on for him to do it as soon as he get back. Because I personally don't think that the Browns will be in a situation, or, hope they are, but I don't think they'll be in a situation where they're going to make a legit push for a playoff spot.
Oh, we're 13% chance. I mean, you can't get better.
Whoa.
I don't know.
Whoa.
It's 13% now, by the way. It's 13%.
We can talk numbers, game, and you look
I'm not about to sit here and stand for that, because y'all not about
I'm just telling you, that's the actual stat.
You know what? It's 13%. It's 13% now. They're going to win Sunday. Josh Allen going to be out against Buffalo. So they're going to win that game. Man, it's going to jump to like 30%. What you mean?
They got a chance. And I think, only time will tell if, as that number continues to increase, if Deshaun is going to be the factor that continue to help that number. Because what if they get to a point when they went out these next 3 games? We got Buffalo, Miami, Tampa, and I think he can return after that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But what if they roll it? What if the offense get hot? Then I'm not changing. I'm not in anything.
I'm glad you.
Cardale,
no,
don't do
no,
that.
let him talk.
Don't do
talk.
Cardale, don't do that. Don't do that.
I want to know.
Listen. If the Browns are rolling these next
Cardale.
3 games and everything goes as rightfully it should in their favors, and they're making a push to take over their division and things like that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Cardale, $230 million is why it's going.
You know what his salary is this year?
$1 million, but $230 million guaranteed. Yeah, no, he's
okay.
Playing. Oh, he's playing. Oh, he's playing.
I mean, you saw it.
All the stuff that this.
You saw
that
it.
This franchise went through. Oh, he playing.
You saw it. You saw it go to bad when it kind of reminded me of a situation. If they went out, it's going to remind me of a situation with Fitzmagic and Tua rookie year, because Fitzmagic had that team rolling. Clearly, they drafted Tua, but they bought Fitzmagic in to pretty grill him. But he had a team rolling for the first. I think they was 4-2 or something like that. And then they decided to go with Tua, and then it went bad. They were talking about this team. They talking about this team.
But Tua was a rookie.
He's a rookie though. But still though, I'm talking about just the not readiness. We don't know if the Shine's going to be ready. Like I said before, I don't care.
$230 million. He gonna be ready.
Let's see. If I was a head coach and my team is rolling like that at that point, and we turning that thing around, we found our identity, and we got our guy just, I'm not asking my quarterback to throw the ball more than 22 times a game, which I don't think they have yet. Have he threw the ball more than 22 times?
Jacoby
Brissett?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they lost.
Well, granted,
they lost them all, right? But last week it was. But last week it was 44 rushing, 22 passing, which is great.
Perfect. Yeah, so that's the formula, though. That is the formula. So.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk some Miami Dolphins.
Hey, everybody. It's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen. Cavs on the Break NBA podcast.
Looking for new insights on the Cleveland sports scene with a unique side of Cleveland sports history? Then you found the perfect podcast. I'm John Sable.
And I'm Scott Sable, and we're hosts of the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, a podcast about Cleveland sports, but not your typical podcast about the land's sports teams. Join us as we embark on a journey of sharing a unique and historical side of Cleveland sports history with the help of some former Cleveland sports stars and other historical figures.
All right here on the Sable Brothers on the Baseline podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
All right, now that we are back on the Orange is Oranger Cleveland Browns podcast, need to talk to you guys about DraftKings Sportsbook. Obviously coming to Ohio here January 1st, so it won't be long until you can bet on all of your favorite sports teams like the Browns from the comfort of your own home. So to celebrate, all of new customers will be receiving $200 in free bets when you sign up today using our code P3Browns. That's P, the number 3, Browns. Plus, 5 lucky customers will win $100,000 free bet. Yes, $100,000 free bet. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving you $200 also in free bets just for signing up today. No deposit required. Soon you'll be able to bet on all the money lines, the spreads, the props, and more with DraftKings America, which is America's top-rated sportsbook app. Plus, you'll be entered to win a $100,000 free bet when you sign up. Had to say that again. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code P3Browns to get $200 in free bets to use once mobile sports betting hits Ohio. Plus, 5 customers will win a $100,000 free bet. Saying it again, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code P3Browns. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966. 21 and over. Physically present in Ohio. Eligibility restrictions apply. See terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. 1 per customer. $200 issued as 8 $25 free bets. No purchase necessary for sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Ends first day DraftKings is allowed to operate in Ohio. See terms at dkng.com/OH. Let's talk some Miami Dolphins. Browns have Miami this weekend. Miami is 6-3. Are they a 6-3 team, Cardale?
I think so. I think they're legit 6-3. I think one of those losses could have been avoided. So they could easily be sitting at 7-2. They probably can argue they could be sitting at 9-0. But I think they're a legit team, and with the injuries that the Browns has been dealing with, I think they're going to need everybody in full stride to handle this team. I think this would be the first game Chubb would be able to play. So I don't know how often the two cousins played against each other, Nick and Chubb, Bradley. So this would be pretty sweet. But it's a track meet on offense for those guys. I mean, you got Waddle and I think Tyreek Hill just eclipsed 1,000 yards receiving. I think Waddle was right behind them. And then, they got some backs that can split out and cause matchup nightmares. So I think they're going to need, I think they got a chance. Clearly, any given Sunday, it's such a cliche, but that is true. But I think they're going to need all hands on deck to really outlast this Miami team.
Man, listen. They got a shot. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to tell you where the chance comes in. Yes, they do need Denzel Ward to be back from his thing, which they say he's in the next phase of it. So it's trending likely that he will be available for the game. But where they going to win this game is that they need that same pass rush they got against Cincinnati. Oh, they got to come to play because the way Miami attacks you is this, which I'm actually going to draw it up on the Cleveland show tomorrow, is that so everybody in the league knows that they have all this speed, right? So when you play zone against this speed, because I've actually, when I was in San Francisco, obviously we were running this defense and we was going against Kansas City. And then you go back and you look at their Super Bowl, Kansas City versus San Francisco, how they played it and how everybody particularly plays them is that they run their routes. So if you're in cover 3, they're going to run their routes so deep because typically routes are 10 to 12, 15, maybe 15 yards. They run theirs 18 to 20. So the zone players have to drop extra deep to compensate for these yards. So what that does is now the check down is wide open. The running back that's running to the flat is right there wide open. He could pick up 8 to 10 yards every time. And if that's the case, you have to offset that by running man. Now you're running man. Now you have to deal with the speed. So the only thing that's going to help them is that Myles Garrett and Jadeveon is getting home because it's not allowing them to be able to run that far down the field. They have to force Tua to have to get rid of the ball early. So that's why that pass rush is such a big thing this week. Yeah,
I was about to say that. I think Miami, I don't know the stats. I'm pretty sure you guys do, but they got to lead the lead. And I don't want to say completions downfield, but shots over 15, 20 yards. They got you. I mean, they some things that I'm pretty excited to see through Tua's growth as a quarterback and continue to get better is, they drop him straight back and saying, take these shots, right? Which is pretty sweet to, like I said, to see his growth. But yeah, if your pass rushers can't get home, it's gonna be a long day for your DB. It's gonna be a track meet.
Who's gonna be would you say your standout this week?
For the Browns?
Yeah. Both of you.
Who is my standout player for the Browns?
Who is gonna be your playmaker this week?
Well, Myles Garrett is if he needs to wear the costume to play like he played last week, so be it. But I'm actually gonna flip it to his running mate. I'm gonna put it on Jadeveon Clowney. I think Jadeveon is gonna be the one that's because you know what, this is interesting. I was talking to a guy about this, and he made it sound so cold, but then I started thinking about it. I'm like, it really ain't that crazy to say this. Technically, Jadeveon low key, and I don't mean no disrespect when I say this. He actually could be considered a bust because he hasn't done what everybody thought that he would do. You think about what he's done in the league so far. I think his best season he had 11 sacks, I think, or something like that. With the Browns, just last year with the Browns, he had 9 with the one season. So he hasn't really been the most productive guy. I mean, you think of that. He's only had 2 seasons where I think he had over 9 sacks. So he has to pick this thing up and get going. I mean, this is a guy who held out for a long time. Nobody knew if he was going to sign with the Browns or not. He decided to come back, and he's very effective when he's in there. But I think this is the games where we need him. This is why they wanted him to come back for games like this. He has to be the one that shows up and make plays. So Jadeveon Clowney is the guy that I'm looking at.
I mean, that's a great pick, but with a guy that coached him and Mike Rabel and some of the things he shared about him personally, because that's one of the questions I asked, and it's like, he was the same class at high school as me, and our number one player in our class, and going to South Carolina doing some great things, and was All-American, and everybody probably remember his career from knocking the guy from the team of North Helmet off and getting the ball. Right. So I just knew he was going to be a wrecking machine when he signed with the Texans, because same type of situation, had a young kind of JJ Watt that demanded a double team. And I figured that he was going to get off on one-on-ones. And, I don't know if that 11 sack season came with the Texans. I'm pretty sure it probably did.
I take that back. His best season was 9.5 sacks.
Oh. Well, I'm pretty sure that 9.5 sack season came with the Texans, but you would have probably thought it would have been a little bit more, with knowing that he wasn't the one demanding the double team at times. But my kind of standout guy I think needs to kind of put up or shut up, or I wouldn't say put up or shut up, but I'm looking forward to having a big game if he's back and return, is Denzel Ward. I think, with his contract this past year and some of the injuries he dealt with early on and some of the struggles that the defense had early on. And I remember watching, clearly he's our former teammate at Ohio State, and watching him get frustrated on social media because people was talking crap about, I think, the Jets game. They thought he blew coverage and all this other stuff. And so I can personally understand where that side of frustration coming from an athlete, because now you kind of you start to play into the narrative of, these fans may be saying this, and I'm pretty sure like, oh, we paid this guy all this and he blew a coverage and all that stuff. I'm just looking forward to him getting back to himself, right? Health-wise and playmaking-wise. And I think if he's healthy, I think it's going to be a great opportunity for him to put those critics to rest with playing against two of the top receivers in the league right now, in Waddle and Tyreek, and coming out and having a big game.
Take me through.
No, hold on. No,
what?
Who you got?
Yeah.
Honestly, mine was Denzel too.
No.
But
Nice.
and I also thought Wyatt Teller on the other end. He's coming back as well. And I really like to see both of them come back in pretty hard here, because we need it. I think this is going to be. Do you guys think this is going to be the toughest that the secondary will have faced so far this season?
Yeah.
Thus far, yeah. If they would have had to deal with Jamar Chase last week, I would have said them. Because when Jamar is in, he demands a lot of attention, and that just opened up things for Wiggins, and then I forgot the other guy's name, but
Higgins and Tyler Boyd.
No, the other one too. What's it? Oh no, Boyd, 83.
Tyler Boyd.
80, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So they are also kind of, when you got your number 2 and number 3 best receivers on them, with those guys can potentially be number 1s or number 2s elsewhere. They cause some matchup nightmares. But Chase was out, so Browns got the win.
I'm hoping that Jacoby has another really good game, and we need him to have a really good game this game. Cardale, how is he preparing for Miami this week, if you're him?
I just think that you gotta yeah, I mean, but Miami got a pretty good defense too, and some pass rushers, and what's my guy from Clemson name? Watkins? What's the interior guy? Watkins, and then you got Melvin Ingram, then you got Chubb on the other side.
Melvin Ingram.
Yeah, who's an underrated pass rusher and player. I know he bounced around the last couple of years, but he was another guy with Clowney in South Carolina wreaking havoc, and was wreaking havoc in LA with Bosa. So he's a guy that can, demand attention as well. But I think you start there. You got to understand where you need to put your protection, slide your protection to. And then I think you got more than enough capable weapons on offense to really make this game, in favor for you guys. I mean, I think this is going to be a game where Miami going to come in and say, we're not going to let you guys run the ball down our throats and beat us. And you're going to force that quarterback to beat you guys. And that goes back to what I said before, as you self-scout. I think they're going to come in determined to stop the run. And now we say, hey, Cooper, we gave you all this money. Hey, Donovan Peoples-Jones, you're I'm pretty sure after the season you'll be begging for a contract. Well, this is games like this, you have to put up or shut up. Looking forward to it.
All right. Well, then that takes us to my favorite time is predictions. So I think I saw like the spread was like 7.5 or something, Miami. A lot higher than I thought, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, predictions. So Cardale, what's your final score prediction for Sunday?
Oh, I don't know, but I don't know who's going to win this game. But
you can pick the dog. Holly picks against us all the time.
I do.
It's no us. I mean, it's not like I'm the biggest Browns fan. I just enjoy watching great games. But I don't think the spread's going to be 7.5 or the the point is going to be. I think it's going to be a closer game than what people expect. I just don't know who's going to come out with a W.
Hold on, Tyvis, before I go to you for your prediction. I forgot to ask you. Yeah, did you grow up a Browns fan? You did you or no?
No, I was never like an NFL team fan. I always had favorite players. And there's a couple of guys I loved on the Browns. I can't say one right now just because of the legal issues that followed him. But Josh Edwards was one of my guys.
Oh man, that's funny because I know exactly who you said.
Of course,
I knew exactly who you because
I
had his jersey.
Oh, authentic, Jesus Christ!
Authentic and everything. It was stitched. I had the orange joint. It was nice.
Yeah. So we'll
no names, please.
No, we ain't saying.
Oh yeah, we ain't saying no names. But yeah, I mean, I was a fan of players more than a team. And then like my family is diehard Browns fans. Like when I come to games, I think the next one I go to is maybe when Tom Brady comes in town. I take like my uncles and stuff. They love it. But I just feel like, hey, I cheer for both teams. Like good game or good plays, and I mean, I cheer a little more. Clearly, Cleveland doing something good because it's my hometown. But I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard Browns fan. I mean,
yeah, just curious. All right, Tyvis, go ahead. What's your prediction? Oh wait, score. You didn't give me Cardale. You didn't give me to score. You didn't really give me a prediction.
No, it's hard. Even though I don't know who's going to win, but I'm going to take the score, and you guys heard it here first. 28-27.
Ooh.
Hilarious.
But you're not going to say who is at 20.
Yeah, I don't know who. 28-27. That's what I'm feeling. And I'm not talking about 2 field goals. I'm talking about somebody missed an extra point.
I wonder who that. I wonder who at this point. Shocker.
I was gonna go. I'm gonna go. Hey, that's tough. I'm gonna go 31-27 Browns.
I like that score as well.
Okay.
28-27, missed field goal off the left upright.
Ooh. All right.
If it happens, you should have played. Did you play the Powerball?
No.
You should have.
Did you, Tyvis?
I did. 1.9 billion. You think I wasn't?
You better take me with you wherever you're going.
It's somebody won it in California.
Somebody, I tell people you don't know if I win a lottery because you won't hear from me no more.
So true. Mine, I'm gonna go. So I'm nervous. I'm really nervous, but I do feel like pressure's on for the Browns. I'm hoping that they're still gonna ride this high from Monday. So I'll say I'm gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna say 37-34 Browns.
Oh wow.
It's gonna be a high scoring game.
I don't want it to be a shootout, man. you want it to be. If it's a shootout, we ain't really built for no shootout. Right?
No, we're not, but we might be. You never know.
You never know.
That's what's fun about predictions, right? We're never right anyway. So awesome. All right. Well, Cardale, this was awesome having you on. Thank you for joining us and taking us inside the mind of a quarterback. And you talked way too nicely about Tyvis, but that's fine. I'll take it.
No, my favorite story about Tyvis, actually, outside of beating him in a one-on-one basketball game for the biggest room for our apartment we moved off campus.
He cheated.
Was
wait a
yeah,
minute.
I cheated because I made it.
Hold on, wait a minute. Because see, you got to tell it right. So what
I
happened was
lit you up.
the first time we played, who won? One of us
I
won.
won.
Did you win?
Yes. And then the second time, you won. I won, and I was trying to be done. You said best 2 out of 3, best 2 out of 3. and you won the second game. In the third game, I destroyed you.
Yeah, he did. I don't think I scored a bucket.
And then, no, my favorite story, actually.
He's already laughing this hard. That's great.
Is it the Pat story?
No, I'm not with there.
Okay.
I went there, but he just got his new car.
Oh,
and Volkswagen. The Nasty was the name of the car. And
Oh my God.
He called me.
It was the Buick
Like,
Verado.
where you at? I said, I'm leaving out the Woody. I was just doing something like extra. So I'm leaving out the Woody. He said, I'm about to pull up. So I was like, what's going on? So I knew he was going to get a new car. I didn't know what it was. So he pulled up. He pulled in our parking lot doing 90.
In a Buick Verona.
Doing 90. Got that thing on 2 wheels. He got it in the parking lot, mind you. I'm like, it's only like 2 cars in the parking lot. I'm cut up there. I was doing something extra in the facility. He skirted around, music blasted, head out the window. And I'm hyped. I'm like, yeah. Next thing I know, he started going backwards with it. He got
Oh my God.
reverse, pretty much trying to do donuts. So I don't know what those barriers are called when, like, if you pull up to a parking spot and they separate like your car from another one, like that, like concrete barrier thing.
Uh-huh.
So we had those in front of
God.
But it wasn't on every one though. It was only
it was in front of
the
the handicapped ones. We had those barriers in front of the handicap one. And it was like, if this is a parking spot, barrier, and another parking spot. So it was 2 of these things. Next thing you know, times I'm looking at him. I'm like, he going pretty fast.
backwards though. I couldn't see.
Oh God.
Backwards. And man, he ran over these things.
When I tell you,
I'm
my
just screaming.
stomach felt so empty in that moment.
And we just screaming at each other, tear it up then. Oh my God. That was by far always the funny, because I'm telling you, you should have saw his face, because he jumped out that car like, he jumped out that car and got to the ground and started looking underneath the car, thought something and came up. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, did you get it? Was it all screwed up at the bottom under the car
good.
or what?
It was good, but needless to say, I've never done that again. You know, I was wild back in the day. I'm calm now.
That's your wild side? All right. Yeah, I believe that, actually. I believe that is your wild side.
He came in the facility parking lot doing 93. On 2 wheels, windows down, music blasted. I'm like, what? But yeah, that's the best PG. I don't know your listeners' age range and demographic, but that's the best PG-13 story I give you, Tyvis. Ask me some more off camera.
Well, yes. Well, I might. Well, I'll take what I can get at this point about when it comes to him. So, all right, guys, that does it for us on the Orange is Oranger Cleveland Browns podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe, and we will be back next week, hopefully talking about a Browns win. So, Tyvis, you want to take us out?
Go Browns!